3, 2, 1.
And we're live! Woo! Larry, you're killing it lately. Hey? It's because we've had a lot of back-to-backs.
His counting is getting real
He's
good.
great. He's great.
We could start
Always.
with 10 probably next week.
I think so.
Yeah, add numbers.
Fantastic.
Good guy.
So we're gonna get
Poor guy.
right into it because we have a very special guest today who, let me just tell you a little bit about her before we get into things. Okay, so just on the way of awards, okay? She has won the Queen's Platinum Jubilee Community Service Award, the Woman of Distinction Award, Entrepreneur of the Year, and countless speaking engagements. She's been appeared on City TV, CH, Vice, CBC, Hamilton Spectator, Global News, and the upcoming Hamilton City magazine.
Cover.
Also Breakfast Television.
Yeah, he said City TV.
Please welcome the unstoppable Emily O'Brien.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Aw,
Nick, that's your
warms my
cue.
heart.
Clap,
Sure, clap.
clap, clap.
Yeah. We'll edit in sound after.
Yeah, we'll edit
That's
that. Welcome to
Thank
the
you.
show. Thank
Woo.
you so much for coming on.
Oh, of course. Thank you for hosting me. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We're just winging it, really.
It's good. Not a lot of people can fly, so there you go.
Thank you. Okay, so we've known each other for a year, I think. And I mean, it's very interesting because we haven't ever really chatted about, I think, your incarceration and stuff like that. We've kind of just like shot the shit about life and everything else. And so I think it's super important to like tap into that because I do want to know kind of that full story. But can we just talk about, first of all, actually, side note on everything. Have you ever been somewhere where they serve a whole turkey on the table for, say, Thanksgiving?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like when they bring the whole turkey to the table and carve it at the turkey.
someone carves it.
Oh, they
Slices
carve it?
it
No.
Right?
Like in the movies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I just feel like it's
display.
what you see like in the movies and like on commercials and things. But like I've never experienced someone bringing a whole turkey to the table.
I think some people do it, but then they leave again.
And
Their work is done.
Oh,
Like, I'm out.
Like they carve half of it off of there, and then they bring the turkey
so it's
back
just for
away.
show.
It's like a family event.
It's just for show.
Who
Okay.
wants the
Sorry.
wishbone? I don't know.
Sorry, I just had to get that in quick.
I'm glad that we went from incarceration
Yes.
to turkey on the table.
Well, I did cook a turkey in prison, okay? So,
Did you?
there are
Did you-
some...
is that slang? Is that prison slang? Like I cooked a turkey.
well.
Giant turkey was done.
Now they were donated by a local volunteer, so I actually did cook a
That's
turkey.
nice. Okay, so it's
Butterball, in fact.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so before we get into your later years, what did Emily O'Brien look like? Like what did your childhood look like?
What I look like? Oh, I had a bowl cut, that's for sure.
What is it with
Bowl
last
cuts.
gets
Yeah,
too?
last cut
Mushroom
had a
cut, bowl
It was
cut?
the look. You know what? It's
It was
the
the
90s
time.
look. I think
Yes.
it was the 90s
But I
look.
did-
You're an 88 baby.
Yeah.
Same as me.
88
Yeah.
Scorpio, Year of the Dragon, middle child. What could go wrong?
Amazing. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Well, you're doing okay.
Okay, so like you as a like child growing up, what did that look like for you? Like what kind of kid were you?
Well, I'm still kind of growing up, so you're gonna have to be more specific about the years, but we'll call it 1 to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
Yeah,
What
one
did
to
that look
10.
like for Emily? Little Emily.
Played sports, lived in the library, listened to music, would place holds on like albums that I knew were, I'd be like 57th on the list, like NSYNC's celebrity album, right? And I'd be like, oh my God, and then I forgot how they used to notify people those days, but it definitely wasn't via email.
New
Maybe it was
albums?
like a letter.
Radio.
Mail.
You knew on
Or
radio.
maybe you just
They would
went,
call you probably.
but
like
yeah, but I didn't have a
HMV?
phone, like home phone?
Home phone. I don't know. Like what it
Yeah, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to talk to Hamilton Public Library about that. Be like,
it
what
was
happened?
Hamilton Public Library.
Yeah.
I
They
think
let
it was
you
a
know
phone
what?
call.
Yeah.
I guarantee it was a phone call.
Like,
They would let
hello,
you know
this
when it
message
was-
is for Emily O'Brien.
Yeah. Yeah, your parents are like, delete.
There'd be like 10 of them a day.
Yeah.
I would walk home with like a wagon full of like CDs
Oh
and
my
magazines
God.
and books. I had this actual wagon. And
love a
I
wagon.
still have that wagon.
So good.
Like a
That's
red
Part of my
wagon?
Dennis the Menace
That's our
costume from a couple
wagon.
years ago. So
amazing.
Was it like a little red speed racer wagon kind of thing?
it was definitely a red wagon.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a speed
I don't
racer.
know, but you know what I mean, right?
It wasn't
Like
a
the old-
GT snow racer.
Oh no, but you know those old school like
Oh yeah.
little kid wagons with the red. Like I just
Yeah, it was
picture- I don't know
homemade.
why
It was
I
made
did
of
that.
wood, not plastic.
Oh, made of
Oh,
wood. Oh, it was
wood.
like one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's
Oh,
a whole other
that's
ball
awesome.
game.
Yeah. And yeah, and then I played sports, went to elementary school, played more sports, ran away from school a couple times.
Okay.
Just so I could not do cross country and
Wait, hang on. To not do cross country, you ran away from school.
yeah, exactly. I didn't like the cap gun.
Ironic.
I didn't like the cap gun. You know what? I don't know if you've ever done cross country. It's the
gun.
worst. You would have to do like your meets at Christie Conservation Area, and then they'd fire this cap gun, and then you'd always be like running and running. It was
And
the
you didn't
worst.
like
I'm
cap
just
gun.
picturing
No.
Forrest Gump scoring a touchdown. Just still running right through the end zone. He just kept on running. Sorry.
I once did
Not you.
cross country because my best friend was a runner and I was not a runner. And I think out of 54 kids who ran, I came like 52nd. But I still got a
63rd of the 54 kids that ran.
Consolation prize.
Yeah.
Participant.
Someone in the bleachers sat
Yeah.
there and did better. Yeah. You actually fell backwards.
yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Anyways,
Anywho.
so Emily, teenage years.
Teenage years, St. Mary's Catholic High School, and then I switched actually over to Westdale.
Okay.
So strategic procrastination was definitely part of my MO ever since then. If I didn't want to do it and I didn't have to do it, I wouldn't. But when I had to do it,
Hunker down.
hunkered down and did it. So I graduated with honors from high school, same as university. Yeah.
Where'd you go to university? Where'd you go
Guelph, University of Guelph, because I couldn't get into I didn't take, my calculus was, actually I couldn't even get into calculus, which is very ironic because, now I'm in nutritional science
Wow.
and business, and I
Killing it.
just got a BA there, but it turned out to be the best thing ever, so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you. And so when did things take a turn?
I mean, it depends what kind of turn you're talking about. It kind of felt like a game of Monopoly. You're going over around the board a million times.
Right.
Definitely struggled a little bit in high school, like everyone does. I mean, this is
Yeah.
unusual. It's like that era where you're like, who am I? Who are you?
Horrible. It's horrible.
The era of
never want to be back
just
there.
being teased. But that's just part of fucking
Life.
Can I swear?
Yeah.
It's part of fucking life. So like at this
We
point,
appreciate sport.
Thank you for asking,
I
though.
don't really
That's
care.
really kind of you.
Yeah.
The censor. We don't have one.
Perfect.
It's nice, though. Respectful.
And then wait, what was the second half of that question?
few
No,
things.
just like how, like when things kind of
Yeah.
went south.
When did I start doing
Literally.
donuts? I was doing donuts in the
Literally
parking lot
went
my whole
south.
life.
That's one. Oh my goodness.
No.
Strategic.
I guess the biggest one was when I was 25, 26, and I was going through, pretty tough time in Toronto. Like most people do when people break up or whatever, my family split up and it was fucking hard. I don't care. Some people are like, oh, don't talk about it. But you know what? I will, because if you're sad about your family splitting apart, that's okay. That means they did a really good job. But you're also at this age where some people are like, oh, you're too old to be sad about it. So it was very easy
That's
to
strange.
kind of cover it up, right?
Right.
And easy in terms of
Right.
imbibing and various things.
Yeah.
But I actually met someone I met through my work. He allegedly was sober, wanted to go on a trip. Wasn't exactly a vacation after all, and then found myself strapped up with 2 kilos of
Work
Colombia's
trip for him.
finest yayo, and
Jesus Christ.
put on the airplane and got busted at the airport, which was the best bust I've ever been involved in.
Totally.
Yeah.
That was when you arrived here.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
'cause you were in St. Lucia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so that was when you were 25.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, no. The shitty part was like the building up to that was when I was around like 24, 25, and then I was actually arrested when I was 26
Okay.
in July.
So you were on house arrest for a couple years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
While trial was happening and everything like that.
Yeah, well, we didn't go to trial. I just pled guilty.
Okay.
Because if you go to trial and the evidence is stacked against you, which it was,
Yeah.
the law doesn't give a shit about, so like arrange it, whatever. I just had to take accountability.
Yeah.
What I did was I brought drugs over the border. That is the only law that they care about.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm not going to plead not guilty because I wanted to take a sense of ownership for it.
Right.
And also relieve my family of like the exhaustion that I put them
Yeah.
through the last couple of years. And because they were innocent victims in that case, and they didn't deserve to be strung out any longer, and owning up to it, best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. So then now you're sentenced to 4 years.
Yes.
In prison.
Yes.
Was there like a specific prison that you were like, God, I hope I'm not sent to? Or are they all relatively the same?
So there's 5 across Canada. There's 5 prisons for women currently, and you basically go to the closest one where your offense was.
Okay.
So because mine was at Pearson, the closest one was Kitchener.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I knew I wasn't going to maximum security because I wasn't like a violent offender, and I had like no previous history, and they could tell I was very, very low risk, but I still had to, you know, justice is a part of wrongdoing. So I wasn't trying to get out of it, and I was ready to see what this next journey brought.
Right. So how did things kind of come about with comeback snacks while in there?
Well, I guess it's pretty easy. We've all kind of like fucked up in our lives, and sometimes we love to just blame other people, but that doesn't get us anywhere. If anything, we're just going backwards on a hamster wheel, which eventually falls out of the cage, and then you get eaten by a dog.
Yes.
So, you know,
Lights out. Yeah.
like ta-ta for now, TTFN. It was actually in prison that I wanted to not just believe in myself and like prove myself right, but also prove others wrong. And I didn't know what was going to happen in prison. I knew that I was going to make something out of it. A, because legal fees are expensive. I'm not going to spend 50 grand on something that I get no value out of. Like, I could have got an MBA for that. So, right? And I also knew that I felt very misunderstood, but I also believed in second chances at everything, because like the root of what happened was basically what we all do. We all make mistakes, and we all make impulsive decisions, and we all like live in regret, but we can only move forward if we believe in ourselves and also help others do the same. Right. So food brought people together in prison. Popcorn was a popular prison snack, among other things, and I kind of put two and two together, and I was like, maybe I can start a social enterprise and build this thing that incorporates my lived experience as well as others, and kind of fight to destigmatize all these believed truths that just aren't. Because it's so easy to hate people that you don't know. It's so easy to hate people that committed a crime and all you read about is how evil they are, until it's someone you know.
Right, for sure.
Like if it was your mom or your relative, you'd be there bailing them out right away. But if it's a stranger, it's like, oh, fuck that asshole, you know, piece of shit, you know, lock them up forever. Yeah, and I just wanted to bring that to light, and I've always had the mentality, or I did there, being like, I kind of went to prison at a great time, because 10 years ago, no one had given a shit. But because of all the reform and kind of legislation that's happening to not benefit people coming out of prison, but actually support reintegration as they claim to do, I was in a spot where I knew I could work with that.
That's great.
While in prison, did you feel that there was programs that were built to help people after they get out? Like, was there anything that you...
Honestly, no. Okay. I felt there was programs that were in place to remind people what they did wrong, but not encourage them that they could do something right. Like, if you look at the majority of people that are incarcerated, it was due because of substance abuse, mental health, financial issues. And there was nothing to support that reintegration after. Maybe during, but they all have this blanket statement that's like, oh, if you had a substance abuse issue, you're going to AA. That's not the solution for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
AA fails for a lot of people.
Yeah. And there was some things, but I felt the best supportive program was like our community with each other.
Right.
And that's like one of the things that I want to work on, is actually creating programs within prison that, you know, have a reliable transition and an actual transition during prison and in the halfway house and later on in life, because that's how you actually reintegrate.
Okay. So that halfway house, was that like a mandatory thing that you had to do after prison?
Yes.
And what was the timeline on that?
I was there for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And they didn't have internet there. You know, so you go to the library, use the Wi-Fi.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what did you do there? Like, why did you have to go there versus go back home?
It's a legislative part of what they call like your correctional plan.
Okay.
So there's two kinds of parole. There's day parole, which is kind of a more supervised release, which is in the halfway house. Yeah, so you got curfews, you got to call every time you leave a location. You also have to call from a home phone before 6 p.m. Yeah, I got written up for that because I was coming home from a speaking engagement and I didn't call from a landline because I was on the goddamn highway and no one else has a landline.
You're like, where's a landline? Can't even find one. Do you think that's maybe changed now?
I hope it does. Honestly, I don't think it's changed yet, to be honest. Yeah.
Whoa.
You gotta track where you are.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can't.
You can have a GPS on your phone that they track now.
Have you seen the ArriveCan app? They really can't figure
Yeah,
out the
that's- I
tech
guess
yet at the
it's a lot.
government
We have far to
level.
go.
Okay,
We have a long
I don't
time to
think
go.
they're about ready to figure that out.
So with comeback snacks, so you developed this idea while you were in prison, and then how did this all take off once you got out?
It actually started taking off when I was inside. So I talked to a friend of mine who's now my current business partner, and we would start writing blog articles from inside. We'd start doing logo designs, and I would start writing stories, doing research, getting market research sent into the prison via snail mail.
Oh, wow.
And I would read books from authors that I don't know, I would ask my mom, hey mom, can you go on Google and tell me which books I should read? And then I'd get them from the library, get them sent in from the Kitchener Library.
Cool.
And so I started building this kind of Rolodex of connections that people that believed in what you wanted to do. And I still have all these little booklets.
Aww.
And so when I got out, then I moved to the halfway house, started popping popcorn there. Then my mom's kitchen. But you know, you can't really scale when you got like two poppers.
Yeah.
And
We're working all night, Mom.
yeah.
Here we are.
She's like, I love it when my house smells like popcorn.
Get used to it forever.
Yeah. And then after that, I started doing speaking engagements, like just trying to build the presence as to what I believed in and practicing the craft of fighting for change.
Yeah.
So whether it was a school or like a little business seminar or Toastmasters, I would just get out there and start telling the story. And that's when you kind of start to see the media, and the first media article that came out, all the heat that I took, you know, they're like, screw this. But as you continue to move on and you prove it through the popcorn and through the people and the purpose, those little voices,
Yeah. They're like,
there's no comments anymore like
maybe
that.
we need to have her back on the show now because she's, killing it.
Yeah.
Did they ask you to come back?
Oh,
Whoever wrote that first article?
Yeah, well, it wasn't ever a bad article. They were all
okay.
great articles. It was the social media comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, like the Hamilton Spectator actually did a really great article. Natalie Patton, who I went to high school with. Hi, Natalie. She did a great job, and we worked on it for probably months, just collecting everything to tell the whole story.
Yeah.
And there's a couple like news articles and stuff that weren't told in the right way, but that's what happens when you try to talk about something publicly that not everyone's used to or comfortable with, or not really interested in learning more about until you can make it relatable.
So the news didn't report an article properly. What a surprise.
Well, not without my consent. Like all the articles that had anything to do with me were with my consent.
Well,
so
Hey, why don't you? I've been told there was going to be snacks at this event.
Oh,
talking about snacks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh wow!
Found
Look
that
at
snack.
this. Look at
Mike's
this.
here for the snacks.
I come back.
You have to show them the gift that I brought you.
Double coated caramel. This
Was that the caramel? Those
Yeah.
are
You want some of that?
those are deadly. Like those are all great, but those are.
Yeah. So life's all about choices. You can eat whatever the fuck you want, or if you're more, if you don't eat sugar, that's fine too. But
fine.
life is all about choice. That's the moral of the story. And this lemon pepper dill was actually the first flavor that inspired this whole idea.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the one you made in prison.
Yes. And then jailhouse cheese. Well, it's now called triple cheddar, but
I like.
Had to make it
jailhouse
more
cheese.
mainstream.
I know.
Who's this lovely little person on the front here?
Oh, that's
So,
me.
yeah.
My avatar. Hello.
It's an avatar. That is cute. Like that.
So what would you say, because you've won so many awards, you're on so many, different things highlighted in papers and shows and things like that. What would you say you are so far most proud of?
I think it's all the recognition to do with impact and changing people's lives and something that I call emotional profit. And this is called money for the soul. And that's when you
Turn Mike's mic off.
About to be real crunchy.
And, that's okay. That's like when you do meaningful work.
Yes.
because sure, we all need money to sustain ourselves and a business, but the true secret, I think, is actually finding something that's meaningful.
Totally.
And so if you can impact someone's life in whether it's they read an article and they believe in themselves, or like they send you a text, or they write you an email, that is like the key to having sustained motivation and therefore sustained and scaled impact.
Is Comeback Snacks actually employing past convicts?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
For sure. So we started out like, that was like my main thing when I started out.
Yeah.
And I think within 6 months, or maybe it was a year, but we have this timeline at the store. We'll have to, when we have my little release party
Yes.
next Thursday,
We'll
you can
check it
check it. We can fact check that.
Yeah.
But that was like the main goal is I want to employ like everyone, but as anyone knows who starts a business, you can't, because you can barely employ yourself.
Right.
So what we've done to kind of still do the same thing is partner with organizations, partner with employers
Yes.
to teach them. Like John Howard Society, for example, has this whole thing called Fair Chances Pledge, and it encourages other employers to do the same. So you can do that to spread that kind of like notion and prove it through facts and through talking.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's great, because now you'll see companies like Zoom, you'll see Slack, big tech companies. What's that one? JP Morgan in the US.
Yeah.
City of Toronto now.
That are
So-
now like holding programs to help people who have been to prison type of thing?
Just
Or to hire
Hire
them?
convicts.
Hire convicts.
oh, formerly incarcerated, darling.
I actually didn't know what to say.
know, I know.
Formerly-
Me over here hiring cons.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just people that have had obstacles in life, because at Comeback Snacks we also work with people that have struggled with addiction, and including myself.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of how you have to look at it. It's by building a family through transparency, accountability, and honesty and trust.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I think our whole prison system's messed up. I think it's messed how people go out into the world, and it's like you're this taboo person now that nobody wants to deal with or
Yeah.
talk to, and you're just this forever. And then we go, but you need to change. But the opportunity to change is never there. So I think it's lovely what you're doing, because it's I've known people who have spent time
Yeah.
in prison more than once. I've been to visit them, and I know how when they come out, like the world that they live in is different, and they want to do better things, and they want to change their life. And society says, no, just go back to your old ways.
Yeah.
That's what you are now.
Well, because you're so limited in what
You
you
are.
can access.
Well,
Right?
we
So if
talked
you're
about
like,
this,
yeah,
yeah.
so if you can't get hired by anybody and you previously were into drugs and selling drugs, I mean, you are way more likely to go back to that if you can't
How you
make
gonna
any
make a living?
means
Unless
of living.
unless like a business school, you work at the business school and you take all those skills that you had as a dealer. If you can negotiate, you can be an enforcer, you can do sales, you can do marketing,
Switching
you can
that
build
up.
a team.
Yes. Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same traits that
principles.
and skills that instead of being a risk to
Entrepreneurial
like
spirit.
society or like your family, right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like that's the thing. What families are victims of crime as well, and or even just crime for survival, right?
Yeah.
And it's complex for sure. So I never say that I can solve all the problems, because I can't, because I realize that I came from a position where I had a lot of things that a lot of people don't. But like what I did is work with my story and the people that I knew and create change within that
Yeah.
world, and while recognizing everything else at the same time that needs systemic change.
Yeah. This question is always very difficult for me to answer, but I do want to, you probably have a game plan on this. Where do you see Comeback Snacks and Emily O'Brien in 5 years?
Oh fuck, I don't know. You never know where the world's gonna take you, but like, it's always working to create those bigger goals. I don't know if you heard about yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
Yesterday, so I've been working with the federal government.
Okay.
Notably, like Pam Demoff, she's an MP, and I was a consultant for the framework to reduce recidivism, and they petitioned a law to be changed to remove mandatory minimums to the Senate, and it got passed. It got, basically like kicked off the stage on the first time, but this time it
Nice.
just got passed
Amazing.
yesterday.
Congrats!
Yes, thank you,
Well
Pam
done.
Demoff, David Lametti.
Yeah. So explain what that is for people that don't understand.
Yes, please. 'Cause I actually don't know what that
Yeah, so there's actually a number of different factors, but the one thing that I saw was how mandatory minimum sentences, which I pled guilty to as well.
What's a mandatory minimum? Start there.
Mandatory minimum was the mandatory amount of prison time that you have to do for a certain crime.
Okay.
And it's based, like for mine, for example, it was based off weight. there are
Weight
other
of, like,
factors.
substance.
Yes. So I did 4 years because I had 2 kilograms, 2 years per kilo.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of people that can get that are arrested for this
That's
spend
so
time.
weird though. Like,
Yeah. So this actually, and it takes control away from the judges. Like the judges, like, well, like I wish I could do this
because
and
there's
this
so many
and
other
this.
factors.
Yes.
Like for you, for example, like you weren't a very willing participant. Like you
Yeah.
didn't go there with the whole goal of
Yeah.
strapping fucking
So-
18 pounds on you and walking over.
Yeah.
It was like you were ambushed type of thing.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh my God, I've got to. So that's a very different, I would say, situation versus someone whose main goal is just to do that.
Or their main goal isn't, and they are groomed for months or taken advantage of because they're struggling and they don't even know. Like I met people
Right.
that were over 60 in there and they had no idea.
Right.
And now like the elderly population is getting targeted to, like they're getting
Oh my gosh.
basically fleeced out of money and saying you have to go do this to get your money back, and it's a
Wow.
it's a big issue. But now, as of yesterday,
Freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So now a judge can take it upon themselves
Yes.
to completely sentence as much or as little as they would like.
yeah, and like there's more details on that coming later.
Yeah.
But I got the
Awesome.
first
Congrats.
email, so I was like, that is like the biggest thing for me. Like popcorn is great,
great.
but when you
Yes.
could actually, when
a
I was
difference.
in prison, I was like, fuck this shit, you know, and I wanted to do something, and I knew like that would be the biggest thing to do, and I think that's how the Jubilee thing happened, because people recognize the work that you do.
Yes.
And that little pin means so much more to me than any bag of popcorn ever
Is
sold.
that the award that means the most to you right now? Would you say?
No, they all do.
They are all
like,
amazing.
My family, my friends, like the people that I've met, my colleagues. I can't even rank anyone higher because everyone has played such an integral part in this journey, and they continue to do so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So the popcorn, I guess, is a way to get the message out.
It's a vector. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The big
Did I
grocery
even
stores.
answer that question? Yeah, 5
Yeah.
years. I was going to say I want to.
Yeah.
I want to.
5 years. Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing us back.
I want to design an entrepreneurship program in prison that has fluidity from inside prison into after prison. And I also want to have like a venture cap fund to support people coming out of prison that want to like start their own business. Because when I got out, you can't get funding if you have a record. You often have no money, but you have all this grit and you have all these skills, and you're like, I want to fucking do something good with this.
Yeah.
But like these major institutions, and they really limit that and impede that progress.
Wow.
So
Do you ever think about if all of this didn't happen in your life, what would you be doing now?
fuck no, I don't think about that at all. I'm like, I'm glad it happened.
No, it definitely happened. Like everything happens for a reason. I'm a true believer of that. But like, if that never happened, like, would you be, like, what would you? Do you ever think about like what would you be doing?
No, because I always changed what I like to do, and I always kind of followed things that I believed in or were interesting, and I could create while live at the same time.
Yeah.
And so this is just another part of that journey.
Hamilton
Wait.
City Magazine coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh
What are
yes.
these? I
So
saw that
we're actually having a little
glamorous
soiree at the comeback. I don't want to call it the comeback mansion, but the comeback
Manor?
store.
Manor's better.
Manor.
Yes.
Manor.
For Hamilton City Magazine Thursday, and they've been
awesome.
awesome. And
When's the magazine?
where-
Is that issue out now?
it is. It's gonna.
December, right?
Yeah.
It's
No,
coming
this
up.
month. It's a
It's
festive
no-
special.
The festive
So when is it
special.
coming
So
out?
chalet.
Festive season. Oh, so chalet festive
wait, when is it
feast?
coming out?
Sorry.
I'm gonna have it by next Thursday for the soiree. Yeah.
Oh, for the soiree.
Wow.
Yeah.
lovely.
So I have 100 copies for the first 100 people that come.
Woo! We gotta get there early. We gotta get
Woo!
mine.
Yes.
For our coffee.
How you
Signed coffee.
DJ? How you DJ? It
Yes.
might turn into a block party, but that's okay. It's better than a cell block party, or maybe not. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be better. Yes. And popcorn will be there.
And this is for you.
Thank you.
What was this? It's not
What
a
do we-
mallet. it's a
Gavel.
It's a gavel.
Yes.
For me. Order in the court. Oh, that was
Larry,
probably
it's the
super
last
loud.
thing you need at my house. Help me.
Sorry, Larry. Your ears are probably broken.
Audio.
Thank you
Okay.
so much for this. I'm gonna keep
course.
this forever.
Oh.
I'm gonna keep it on the show. Just
Yes.
So I can sometimes
Right there.
cut my
Oh, you
off.
should keep it out there.
Yeah.
Like Craig Ferguson used to keep little things that people
Yeah.
would bring him
You
up.
can make it
This year.
make a game out of it. It's like, all right, we got 5 questions and 5, or like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, okay, next question,
Next.
ding. Yeah.
Put your hand down if you get the question
Okay, so
wrong.
where can people find Comeback Snacks?
Comebacksnacks.com. You can read about the whole journey. To buy I think we have a location. Yeah, we have a locations map on our website, or you
Yes.
can reach out to me on social media, TikTok, wherever. You might see it on your local shelf, or reach out to her and she'll help you, or
I'll
him.
get her, yeah.
We
We'll
keep
get you all
seeing
the
you
popcorn
pop
you
up
need.
in more grocers.
Oh,
I keep
nice
thinking-
one.
No, I do.
Pop.
No. Oh, jeez. Didn't even mean to do
Pop
that.
puns are endless.
Jeez.
I mean, everywhere we go, we see them all over. So I
Yeah.
mean, you'll see them everywhere you go pretty well.
And that just shows that everyone can call it a comeback.
That's right.
There we go.
There you go.
Amazing.
And thank you for having me on the show. And
Thank
love
you.
Hamilton. I'm so happy to be here because you never forget where your roots are.
That's right.
There we go.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on. And this is our sign off.
Oh,
So we say, until next time, we'll see ya when we see ya. Cheers.
do I have to say it too?
Sure.
Oh, ready? Until next time, I'll see ya when I see ya.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow. First run. Cheers.
Thank you. That's what I was saying. It's the prerequisite for any guest coming on the show has to be okay with Hamilton tap water. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it goes.
That's how I grew